In this video, we're going to be looking at problems involving rates. So a rate is a comparison of two quantities with different units. It expresses how much one quantity changes with respect to a change in another quantity. So here are the problems we're going to solve. So the rate here is 4 centimeters per 2 kilometers. So that is a rate, and we're going to write that as a fraction there. We need the map units, or 4 centimeters on the bottom of the fraction, to cancel out with the 15 centimeters of map units on the left there, and we can multiply through the numbers and we'll get ground units because we've cancelled out the map units. So 7.5 kilometers on the ground is equivalent to 15 centimeters on the map. This one here, the rate is our 10 centimeters, represents a distance of 50 kilometers. That is our rate. We can write that as the fraction, but we need to know how much 60 kilometers represents on the map this time. So we make sure that we put the ground units 50 kilometers on the bottom of the line, bottom of the fraction, to cancel out with the 60 kilometer ground units on the top there. So we're left with the map units in centimeters, multiply and divide there that fraction, and we'll get the answer. So 12 centimeters is 60 kilometers on the ground. Here we have a problem involving percentages and money. So 60% of an amount is 540. What is 40% of the amount? But we're not given what the amount is. So if we let x equal the amount, we can write a small equation here. 0.6, or 60% of the amount, is equal to $540. So we can solve this equation for x, divide through by the 0.6 left and right, and that will give us the total amount. By getting the total amount, we can then work out what 40% of that amount is. So 0.4, or 40%, multiplied by $900 will give us the 40% answer. In the next problem, we have a dozen apples which cost $5. That is the rate, and we need to know how much 17 apples will cost. So the rate, once again, will be a fraction. We need to put the apples on the bottom because we want to know the cost, not the apples. So the apples need to cancel out of the equation, and we're left with the dollars. So multiply the 17 by 5, divide it by 12, and we'll get the answer in dollars. So 17 apples cost $7.08 approximately. Here we have another rate problem, 750 ml with 288 grams of sugar. That is the rate, and we need to know how much sugar will be in 1 litre. So we need to get the units aligned here. So 750 ml, we'll keep it in mil. We know that 1 litre is 1,000 millilitres. So we can write 1,000 millilitres, multiply that by the rate, which is 750 mils and 288 grams of sugar on the top. We need the mils to cancel out and leave us with an answer with the amount of sugar. We do the calculation and we get 384 grams of sugar per 1 litre, or 1,000 millilitres of solution. Here we have exercise books, cost $8 per dozen. So $8 per dozen, that is the rate, and we need to know how many we can buy for $22. So we need the dollars to cancel out because we want to know how many books. So we put our rate there as a fraction, cancel out the dollars, multiply through the numbers and divide by that 8, we'll get the number of books. So 33 bucks per $22. A car travels 96 kilometres on 12 litres of petrol. That is our rate. So that will be written as the fraction. We need to know how much petrol for 200 kilometres. So the kilometres need to cancel out, and we need to leave our answer in litres. So put that 96 on the bottom of the line, multiply the numbers there, and divide. We'll get 25 litres per 200 kilometres. Here we have 58% of a crop of plums, hail destroyed, and only 10,500 kgs was sent to the market. How much would have been sent to the market if there had been no hailstorm? So we basically need to know the total amount of plums in kgs. So we let X be the total crop of plums in kgs, and we can write a small equation here. So the total amount minus the amount that got destroyed is equal to that 10,500 sent to the market. So because we have one unknown, X, we can simplify this and solve for the total crop of plums in kgs. We can take 0.58 to the right hand side by dividing through by it. We do the math and we get 25,000 kgs. If there'd been no hailstorm, that's the total amount. Here we have a car travels 100 kilometres per 15 litres of petrol. That is the rate. That's what we're going to be writing as a fraction. And we need to know what rate is the car using petrol. So we can simplify this fraction to work out the rate per litre of petrol. So 100 divided by 15, that will give us the rate per litre of petrol. We're dividing through by 5 there first, just to simplify. And then we can divide 3 into 3 once and 3 into 20, and we'll get a decimal here. So 6.66 recurring kilometres per litre.